hidden language of vaccines. First of all, I'll read the public relations side and then the pharma side. Public. They're safe. Pharma. Makes us lots of money. Public. Scientific studies validate vaccinations. Researchers study and state what we pay them to. Prevent disease. Promote disease and create more customers. Have saved the world. Have created a multi-billion-dollar market for treatment. Scientists who oppose vaccination are quacks. Independent scientists threat our marketing initiatives. Humans risk terrible disease without vaccines. Without fear we have no market and no fear, no future. Vaccines create disease-free school environments. Fundamental control begins with the school system. 1. Measles, mumps, chickenpox were considered normal, once that is. Now we have a new normal. Autism, type 1 diabetes, seizures, allergies, asthma, ADD, ADHD, learning disabilities, cancer. The old normal was short-lived and provided lifelong immunity. A new normal provides you with a vaccine-injured child for life. Our problem is not with Jews. Our problem is with Zionists. Tory MPs receiving counselling for having to do some work. The real work, shy. Yeah. They've actually had to go and do, someone's actually had to do some work and now they need counselling. Did you know I actually had to lift my hand up and put the fork into the food and feed myself? I need counselling. Citizens for Vaccine Safety Alliance Inc. Rock and play recalls. What happens when manufacturers are liable for the safety of their products? It's too bad we don't hold vaccine makers to the same standards. Welcome to America, where kids are taught that shooting up schools in their own country is wrong, but blowing up schools, hospitals, weddings and funerals in other countries makes you a hero. The real White House scandal the media is not talking about. Trump funder and owner. Trump policy chief. Israel owns Trump. And you can see that by the policies he's been doing out. Another bought and paid for piece of shit. Waste of time. 4 more medics are arrested over claimed stroke patients were poisoned with zombie sedation drug at NHS Blackpool Victoria Hospital, bringing total facing neglect probe to 7. Now, what I find interesting here is it's back up in Liverpool. We had the Liverpool pathway, which is still in use and spread all over the country now, which for if you're over 50, then you're going to be offered no resuscitation and starving and dehydration to death. But it all seems to start up in Liverpool for some reason. Worth looking into. 3 people were previously arrested on suspicion of administering poison. Today, another man and 3 women were arrested on the same allegations. Allegedly used poison or noxious things with intent to injure or willful neglect. Have you been affected? No. Your healthcare professionals have been arrested. 4 healthcare professionals have been arrested over allegations of mistreatment and neglect at Blackpool Victoria Hospital. Last November, Lancashire Police were asked by Blackpool Teaching Hospital NHS Foundation Trust, everything's a trust, remember that, to investigate alleged incidents in the Stoke unit. One suspected allegations patient were wrongly administered with prescription-only zombie sedative drug Zipaclone, it's about right, to make them sleepy. Can't trust anyone. No corpus delicti, no case. Which means if there's no injured party, there can be no case. Somebody has to have been injured. And a building or a court cannot be injured. Disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, I'm only posting this for discussion purposes. Without a valid cause of action, there is no corpus delicti. If there's no corpus delicti, a case has no standing. There are numerous cases dealing with corpus delicti, and all say the same thing. Without a corpus delicti, the plaintiff has no standing. In order to have a corpus delicti, a case requires a valid cause of action. A valid cause of action requires three elements. The three elements are: 1, a violation of a legal right; 2, damage or injury; 3, redressability by the court. If the prosecutor fails to meet all these elements required to file a valid cause of action, then the prosecutor has no standing, thus the court has no jurisdiction. After establishing no one's legal rights have been violated, everything after that is beside the point. Links in the description if you want to read the whole topic. I think you should do. Very interesting. I've known about it for years, but it's very interesting still. Trump, Israelis should be immune from international criminal court prosecutions. Now, if that doesn't tell you that he is a bought and paid for puppet of the Zionist dictatorship cabal that is trying to bring in a one world government, I don't know what will. Washington. The Trump administration again names Israelis along with Americans as deserving immunity from international criminal court prosecutions. In a statement Friday, President Donald Trump declared victory after the ICC rejected a request to investigate US personnel for actions in Afghanistan. In other words, it's let's cover up the crimes we've done. Since the creation of the ICC, the United States has consistently declined to join the court because of its broad, unaccountable prosecutorial powers. The threat it possesses to an American national sovereignty and other deficiencies that render it illegitimate. The White House said in a statement it attributed to Trump any attempt to target American, Israeli or allied personnel for prosecution will be met with a swift and vigorous response. Bought and paid for puppet. 4 men charged with slavery after 29 people found in Devon. Men, women and children believed to be from Vietnam were discovered in back of van. 4 men have been charged with modern slavery offences after women and children believed to be from Vietnam were among 29 people found in the back of a van that was stopped on the M5 in Devon. Police stopped the vehicle on Friday morning on the M5 near Cullompton. After reports, a group of people were seen getting in the back of the vehicle after arriving on a boat. On Sunday, Frank Walling, 72 from Colne, John Ransom, 63 from Kent, Keith Royston, plumber, 62 from Sheerness, and Glenn Martin Bennett, 55 from Burnley, were charged with human trafficking and assisting unlawful immigration to a member state. The men have been remanded in custody and will appear at Truro Magistrates Court on Monday, today. And what you find with that is that we're charged with human trafficking and assisting unlawful immigration to a member state. Whereas if you work for the UN and you want to drag this country back to the Stone Age, you allow all migration, but not stuff that you don't control because they're not working to your agenda, so you make sure that you shut them down. Care company accused of raiding low-paid staff to fund high executive pay. The firm is cutting pay for sleep-in shifts while spending on management is set to rise. Care workers rallied across the northwest on Tuesday accusing a controversial care firm of raiding their incomes. Unison members at Alternative Futures Group, AFG, are taking action as new figures reveal that AFG's cuts to care support workers' pay for overnight shifts is wholly unnecessary. A sleep-in is where a worker stays in the home of someone they support overnight and are on call in case anything happens. Unison say cuts to AFG to sleep-in top-up payments is costing some staff as much as £2,000 per year. Many of the staff who are paid minimum wage for their regular hours are reported to be struggling to stay in the care sector due to not being paid adequately at night. AFG workers' overnight sleep-in pays range from $49.98 in Rochdale to $60.73 in Cheshire East. police cleared of wrongdoing. Well, what a shock. You could have knocked me over with a feather, because the police never do anything wrong, whether it's murder, shoot, run over, stab, beat the shit out of. They never do anything wrong. They're always doing it right because, hey, they're above prosecution, aren't they? Police cleared of wrongdoing after teenager pushed off bike causing bruised brain in Bermondsey. Police officers who seriously injured a teenager by pushing him off a bike before wrongfully arresting him have been cleared of any wrongdoing. Well, what a shock. Terrell DaCosta Jones Burton, 15, was pushed into the shop front on Southwark Park Road, Bermondsey, South London, after he was suspected of being involved in a mobile phone robbery in Rotherhithe. Officers arrested the teenager, but he was later found to have not been involved in the crime. The schoolboy reportedly sustained bruising on the brain, a broken gum and missing teeth as a result of being pushed off his bike. The Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, launched an investigation, and the officers have now been cleared of any wrongdoing. Yes, the Independent Officer for Police Conduct, which of course isn't independent, just like the IPCC was never independent. It's all there to cover their asses. The incident in question took place on 9 p.m. on November 21st, 2017. The investigation found that a number of officers saw a group of young people inside a park, including Terrell, who matched the description of the robber's suspect. At the time of the police arrived, CCTV footage shows the group of young people quickly leaving the area on bikes. Terrell, who police thought was a suspect at the time, was pushed off his bike a short while later. Now, did he need to be pushed? Could he just been grabbed and stopped? Yes, of course he could have been grabbed and stopped, but the police are used to getting away with murder, and have done, proven forever. And that's so that they'll push it further and further, because they are the obedient little dogs of the elite. Margaret Hodge attempts to talk her way out of Islington paedophile scandal. In yesterday's Guardian, Margaret Hodge spoke about her time as leader of Islington Council when it was proved that a paedophile network had been sexually abusing vulnerable children in every one of the council's children's homes. And of course that you'll find that also ties into Jeremy Corbyn, who also helped cover it up. Her own tenure was not without its controversies. Within weeks of taking the job, accusations resurfaced that while she was leader of Islington Council from 82 to 92, she had not done enough to follow up allegations that child abuse ring was operating in her borough. When a victim protested her appointment as minister, she described him as an extremely disturbed person and tried to prevent the Today programme from airing his claims. She eventually had to make a formal apology in High Court and pay at 10,000 in damage to a charity. All that happened when we didn't really understand child abuse in the way we understand it now. Okay then, you lying bitch. This was the early 90s. It was only beginning to emerge that paedophiles are working with children in children's homes and elsewhere. And so I think my great regret there was believing without question the advice that I was given by the social service managers. I can tell you that I sat across the table like you and I are sitting across the table now and said, are you telling me the truth? Is that all I need to hear? And in the end, I believed them. I should have challenged that. I really regret. What I didn't do was hear the voices of those kids who had suffered abuse. I should have full article. It appears that Margaret Hodge is attempting to rewrite history in anticipation of the Islington Children's Home scandal resurfacing due to the current Peter Wrighton investigation. The Peter Wrighton paedophile network abused children in schools and children's homes across the UK for decades, and there are already links between the network and Islington. Margaret Hodge was warned of paedophile operating in Islington Children's Home, yet she did nothing to help the children who were being abused. She knew what was going on and protected the paedophiles. She's in Parliament. That's what they do. They protect child rapists. Breast cancer mum left distraught and with just 84 pence to survive on after universal credit shambles. A single mum who is suffering with breast cancer has been left Distraught with only 84 pence to her name after a nightmare with the controversial universal credit benefit system. Teacher Gillian Sykes found out she had cancer in January and is preparing to have a double mastectomy operation in the summer. She has had to quit work as a supply teacher, but says she has been left to fight for survival with the Department of Work and Pensions. In an emotional interview, Gillian explained how she has been turned down for support and was even made to take bank statements into Job Centre into just 2 days after her first draining about the chemotherapy. She said she also had money taken away because the DWP had mistakes over dates and was eventually left with only just 84p to live on, forcing her to rely on handouts from family and friends. In a deeply upsetting moment, Gillian was also told she needed to be looking for work, with the DWP later said was just an automated response. The 45-year-old, who lives in Ashton in Markenfield with her 2 teenage children, spoke about the devastating moment she discovered she had cancer. More corruption in the councils. Now, if you remember, Northamptonshire Council have gone bankrupt because they're really good at looking after the money they rob from all the men, women and children. Northamptonshire County Council's new Director of Children's Services being paid £1,100 a day. Sally Hodges joined the council in February. The new Director of Children's Services at Northamptonshire County Council is being paid £1,100 a day and has become the highest paid senior officer at the authority. This means that Sally Hodge, who took up the post in February, will be paid £258,000 as an annual salary, which is £63,457 more per year than the council's chief executive, Teresa Grant. And this is trying to distract from the fact that she's also a thieving bitch. It is also considered more than the 2 commissioners, Brian Roberts and Tony Ardle, who were sent in to oversee the council by central government in May after the Conservative-run authority was heavily criticised by an inspector. The post is temporary and for 2019. Northampton Councillor Julie Davenport is critical on the amount the council pays its big salaries to officers at a time when the authority is making cuts to budgets. She said, "I don't think anybody is worth that salary. If people want to earn that sort of money, they should work for a profit-making corporation, not in public services." Sally Hodges has been Director of the Children's Service at Council in Solihull and Staffordshire and has worked for Ofsted as a safeguarding advisor. Her department has a number of issues, including underpayment to early years providers and trying to recruit permanent social workers. When she joined the authority, she said, "The needs of the children are paramount and at the centre of the focus. It's nothing to do with the £1,100 I get every day for doing this job, of which I'm not very good at. And of course, I'm a paedophile protector because they make sure that we place the paedophile protectors in the position where that's going to come to first so we can quash them." Or I may have been paraphrasing. 3 paedophiles get 245,000 in legal aid, 10 times more than victims, compo. The paedophiles have been handed nearly £500,000 in legal aid, 10 times the maximum compensation due to their 2 victims. The evil trio were ringleaders of the gang of drugged and raped 2 girls aged 14. Their lawyers have received nearly £500,000 from the taxpayer. In contrast, the victim will be eligible for criminal injuries repayment of between £11,000 and £44,000. The huge legal bill, uncovered by the Sunday People using Freedom of Information laws, was slammed last night. Harry Fletcher, director of the Victims' Campaign, said it's a scandal that these child abusers were given £500,000 of legal aid, yet the victims received less than 10% of that. It just shows you government full of paedophile and files and totally corrupt. Revealed collapsed private provider to the NHS owes £11 million. Because our MPs know how to pick the private providers that give them the biggest backhander. CCGs hope to get more money back, But company say CCG owes its money. Company withdrew from patient transport services in 2016. A patient transport company which collapsed after it withdrew from the NHS contract owes more than 11 million, including to the NHS statement filed with Companies House has revealed. Liquidators winding up copper former have found just a few £1,000s in the company's bank account. Now, they've all had it in backhanded deals. But the papers also show the company owes 11.3 to unsecured creditors, including NHS organisations and suppliers to ambulance and staff. Clinical Commissioner Group in Sussex, where co-performer won the patient transport service contract in 2016, have claimed the company owes the 7.6 million. In a statement, the county's CCG said the Sussex CCGs are actively pursuing all options to maximise recovery for the NHS of costs incurred as a result of the failure of the patient transport service contract. Privatisation. It screws it up every time as planned. Scandal as NHS plasma supplies sold off by Tories for 230 million, then sold on to Chinese for 820 million. Another backhander. In 2013, the hapless Tories sold off NHS plasma supplies to US private equity firm Bain Capital for 230 million. NHS plasma supplies have now been sold to Chinese for 820 million. The NHS is not safe in Tory hands. In 2013, the Tories sold off the It has now been revealed that the US firm has sold on the NHS plasma supply company, now renamed Bioproduct Laboratory, to China's state-owned firm Cray for 830 million. Nearly 4 times the initial amount, because our politicians are a bunch of self-serving, backhanded taking, corrupt criminal, child rapists involved, and many dirty, filthy paedophiles. Aye. Tories plot to bring down PM. The whole country's plotting that, you twats. An airport drone attack may have been inside job. Oh, shock. From Fleabag with love. Why Bond needs his makeover. Ian Biriff, India's faith in democracy is wondrous. Tenants protect from unfair evictions. Reforms to the health minister. Dane right. Tories right. May must quit next month before elections to save Tories, says former leader. MP seat rule change to enable fresh challenge after poll shows Corbyn's Labour would win general election. Labour MP sparks fury after comparing headline Conservative Brexiteers to Nazis. It's all smoke and mirror time then, isn't it? Metro. I was up there, there's thrown shit again. For some reason they're pushing that like no one's business. May must go in, May. Plea from Duncan Smith as voters desert Tories. Assange lawyer hits out at Ecuador. The boy 9 mauled to death by dog. Want you back. Take that store ambition. Tiger roars back to win the Masters. The Times. New social media could give thumbs down to Facebook likes. Assange hit embassy staff, says President of Ecuador. And it's nothing to do with the 4.3 billion they've just been given as a loan by the IMF. Nothing to do with that at all. Don't you ever say so, because you'll be lying. You would be lying. Leadership rivals urge PM to linger for months. Get Brexit wrapped up and then go. Ministers tell May. Well, conflicting stories in the shit sheets, but that's what they ever do. Conflict, misdirection, look over here, smoke and mirrors, all that sort of shit. Telegraph. The greatest comeback since Muhammad Ali. Hammond mocks Brexiteer suicide pact. Landlords must go to court to evict tenants. Gatwick drone attack was an inside job. Really? Roll over Beethoven. Let's celebrate women. Families fighting the flab by keeping fit together. Fears of oil shock as Libya crisis worsens. Daily Fail. Jihad bride is handed legal aid. Fury as Begum gets cash to challenge decision to strip her of UK passport. Oh, what a shock. By George, he's got a little admirer. Parasite time. Mirror. Lot of fun for young royals, parasites. Exclusive with Brits troops on the terror front line. Vital mission in Afghanistan to stop IS before it launches attack on Europe. Total bullshit where they're protecting the poppy fields for the CIA. That's the real truth. This is all bollocks. Express. Tiger rolls back. Yeah. 999 crew treat Dame Joan after she flees flat blaze. 44,740 weapons seized at court. Thugs smuggling guns and knives show brazen contempt of the law. This is total bullshit as well. This is to increase the shit on us all. I don't believe it for a second. You're my five cousin, George. Parasites again. The Guardian. Short notice evictions face axe in tenant right victory. Housing campaigners hail government plans to scrap no fault removals. Tiger Woods again. Assange abused our hospitality. Ecuador. Yeah, they're just making this shit up because they got the 4.3 billion loan that they wanted. It is impossible to build a stable rooted life under these laws. The scum. Actors crash bust up. Benedict Cumberbatch. Star knocks down cyclist and gets a slap. Waste of paper. Star. Game of Thrones a sickie. Yeah, I'm sick of hearing about it already. FT. Games afoot. Apple bets big on arcade. NHS hands doctors cash top-ups to halt wave of early retirements. Tax it from pension revamp. 3,500 quid to avoid hefty bills. Blow to Tory funding round. No, it's exactly what they planned and why they wanted it. Prelude's 2014 bid for Rickett unit seen as attempt to profit from US opioid crisis. City accused of arrogance on Brexit ambitions. Well, as usual, just smoke and mirrors, misdirection, and getting you to look anywhere but where you should be looking. Now, it's getting more and more out there, but we need to be speaking. Let's double our attempts. Let's double our talking to others about it. And let's see if we can get this ended this year. Because the sooner we lock these criminals up, the better our whole life and our children's lives and our grandparents and our grandchildren's lives will be. The sooner we take back control of this country, the sooner the New World Order crashes, and it will crash in all the other countries at the same time. All the criminals will be in jail, and we can go about having a happy, joyous life instead of the criminal, satanic life they're trying to drag us down into this 10th level of hell where they belong. See you tomorrow.